don't know why I didn't do this before. Let's have a drink. Sorry about that. Really should have done that before I push record. Okay, now today the question is, what's happening in the fight for freedom? So what's happening with the awakening? When I first started doing this channeling recordings, I decided I wasn't going to be forthright about my beliefs and philosophies on the world and where the world's heading and stuff, but I think it's not possible for me to be true to myself and keep that out of the conversation. So if you've watched some of my channels, it's, you know, I believe in truth and I believe in the light and moving to the light. And there is a particular political persuasion which you could say is more aligned with that, and there is a particular political persuasion which is counter to that. So I'll let you work out which one of those is which, but the one that is more aligned to that, it is more aligned to freedom, which is more aligned to expansion, to discovery, that's the one that I have a passion for. And it's really not because I have a passion for that particular political movement, it's I have a passion for expansion, for discovery of the light, and that political philosophy is the one which points most in that direction. So we'd say it that way. Right, so what's happening in the fight for freedom? Now, if that's a little bit confusing to you, I'm speaking specifically about what's happening with the geopolitical situation in the world and the elite trying to dominate the people through the Great Reset and the COVID scam and the vaccine hoax and all this kind of stuff. So that's what I'm talking about. So let's do a channel and see what comes through. Greetings and thank you for the question. What's happening in the fight for freedom? Let us start by saying, just let go. We understand that this is something that you have a strong opinion of, and we can also sense that you have a concern that your strong opinion is going to colour the information that comes through such that it becomes a dialogue of your own rather than a channeled sharing of a higher wisdom. So we would say, just let that go. Surrender. And it is a good opportunity to practice the surrender which we spoke of when you did the ayahuasca channel 2 days ago. So, in a similar way, have no expectation. Just be open to the best thing that can happen shall happen. By removing this expectation, there is nothing the mind can compare what occurs with. So, there will be the reduced capacity to judge, and this will set you free because it is a state of surrender. Humanity is moving in a direction which can be expanded to say your entire region of the cosmos is heading in a direction. And we mean this quite literally in terms of the spatial mechanics of the cosmos, and also in an energetic and philosophical definition also, there is a movement which includes humanity as a smaller aspect of something larger which is occurring. So this movement includes the Earth, it includes the solar system being, and it includes regions beyond your solar system. So it could be said that this particular geographical region of the Milky Way is going through an awakening of sorts. And what shall happen for the Earth human will be the Earth human's experience of this larger phenomenon. We start with this visual because we want you to understand that it hinges on humanity less than you may think it does. The momentum of this much larger phenomenon cannot be stopped. It's an inevitability. Because there is the inevitability that your region of the cosmos is going to pass through a field of change. And consequential to passing through this field of change, there will be disruption, there will be the ending of old paradigms, and there will be the beginning of new paradigms. Not just for the Earth human, but for many versions of consciousness as it passes through this area of profound change. So, it doesn't hinge on what happens in the human plane. From your reduced perspective, where you are preoccupied with being human and being a part of the humanity field, it may appear to you that there is a chance that things will not go the way of expansion, of discovery of the light. However, this is a very narrow and blinded view of what is really occurring. From our view, from the extrapolation, from the perspective from which we can gaze upon the happenings in your regions of the cosmos, it's a given that this profound change, expansion into the light is going to occur, because it cannot not occur at this stage. There is no turning back, there is no way it cannot be done. So, relax. Take it easy. Concern yourself less about if it is going to happen, and be more excited at the anticipation of how it's going to happen. Because that will be the joy, that will be the gift, that will be the way in which you can have influence. You can have influence in how it shall happen. Those beings that came to this planet and interrupted the Earth-human experiment to turn the Earth field into a resource have always known that the region of your cosmos was heading towards an area where there is the energy of change, the energy of enlightenment. And it was their ambitious hope that they could create a field of darkness and density that is so intense that you could pass through this region of enlightenment and change and yet be inoculated, insulated from this gift from the cosmos for change, and remain in the darkness. And even to the extent of transforming this energy of change into a intensification of the density of the darkness. But it is clear to us, and increasingly so to the human field, that this is not going to occur, because the cracks are appearing at a rate which cannot be salvaged, which cannot be plugged. It is the inevitable birthing of the new solar system being, of the new earth being, of the new humanity being. There is nuance though, however, and the nuance is especially so in your personal experience of what shall occur. So, while on the greater perspective, this explosion into the light is inevitable, there is still the possibility for personal suffering. There is still the possibility that when this change is passed through, that you are not vibratorily compatible with the energy of change, and so when it creates an resonant oscillation with those that are ready, those that are vibrating at a frequency high enough that they can form this resonant oscillation, then if you are below this and you cannot achieve that resonance, then you shall not be included in the harvest, as it's called, in the event of rapid transition to a higher vibratory state and complete exit from three-dimensionality. And you will instead be compressed down into density, into three-dimensionality, and become a victim of this model the usurpers originally had in mind for all of humanity. Because it was their model that when there was a passing through this period of change, of enlightenment, that everybody would be vibrating so lowly, in such a state of density and darkness, that no one would be harvested. Everybody would be kept within the density of the 3D. So on a personal perspective, it is now time for you to be elevated in your vibration, to purge the darkness. If you have reached the point where you have passed through the gauntlet of awakening, and you have had the epiphany that there is indeed a unified malevolence that is pitting itself against humanity, that there is a dark polarity, a negative polarity that is opposing itself to the light, to the positive. When you have made this recognition, and you can have the recognition that you are not part of them, you do not wish to be part of the darkness, that you do not wish to hate, that you do not wish to have fear, sadness, depression, anxiety, all of these derivatives of darkness, because you do not identify as being of the darkness. Because when you have this awakening that there is the unified malevolence, then this is your opportunity, for the first time in a very clarified way, to say, I am not that. Because this is the process of the unfolding of the petals. Each petal that unfolds of the 1,000-petal lotus is the releasing of something that you have had the epiphany. This is not me. And you let it go. And as the petal folds back, it reveals underneath what has always been there, which is the true essence of you. So when you have this very demarked experience, where you have realized there is this unified malevolence, and then you have the consequential epiphany, that is not me, I am not that. Then the immediate question is, so what am I? And in this moment of asking, the answer becomes clear. I am the light. And when you have this moment of self-understanding to a new depth, then the darkness is released. You purge the darkness. I am not the hate. I am not the fear. I am not the anxiety, the depression, the sadness. These have been toxified into me as a strategy of the darkness, of this unified malevolence. I have been carrying darkness on their behalf. I have been a pack mule for the darkness, so that me and all of my fellow humans together create a network of darkness over which they reign at the epicenter, where it is most dark, where most power is wielded. And we are moved about as pawns, exploited as resources. So, my hate for those people had been toxified into me through the cultural pillars. Because the truth is, they are an aspect of the same being I am. And the love I have myself is the love I have for them, because they are me. I am them. I hate them no more. I am an infinite being, born from the light. I am immortal. I am invulnerable. So the fear I have, it is for nothing. It is false. It is fake. So I am no longer afraid. I release the fear, recognizing that the fear has been placed into me by this unified malevolence, by this dark cabal that have used the cultural pillars to make me fearful. And I do the same with my sadness. I do the same with my depression. I do the same with my anxiety. And then what is left but the light? I am not the darkness, so what am I? I am the light. And so begins your polarization to the light, to become more expressive of the characters of the light, more loving, more forgiving, more understanding, more generous, more peaceful, more harmonious. And so you polarize to the light. And this polarization to the light, this being expressive of the light in all ways, so that there is no darkness within. This is the elevation of your vibration above the threshold. So when humanity passes through, when the region of the cosmos, the earth being, the solar system being, pass through this region of change, where the vibration creates resonant oscillation with those beings that are energetically aligned, that are harmonious, that can form the resonance for subsequent harvest into the higher realm. You will be among them. because you will literally be energetically compatible to the metaphysics of what is going to occur. Because it is physics. It is not a judgment. It is not Lord Almighty looking upon you and saying, I judge thee worthy. It is not so. There is no subjectivity. It is purely objective. But characteristic of having the characteristic of having the properties of the light could be said to be godly, because it is love in its derivatives. It is generous benevolence. It is what you would expect to be saintly behaviour. And this is the expression you will take if you have prepared yourself for the ascension event to pass into the higher dimensional state. It is important that you are clarified, that darkness is purged in all ways that you carry darkness. So, be introspective with a scrutinizing eye. Be brutally honest. Don't give yourself a pass. If you have some darkness, if you have some aspect of self which you know is unhealthy, which you know is not aligned with the light, but it is a secret pleasure. It is something that you have enjoyed as a vice, but you know it is not of the light. Then it is important that you also release this. Because as more people have the awakening and they release the darkness and polarize to the light, there is going to be an increasing attraction. Those who have the propensity to be dark will be attracted to the darkness more than ever before. Those who have a propensity for the light will be attracted to the light more than ever before. And so this commingling, where we believe the darkness to be ourself, where you hate another group of people and you believe the hate to be you. I am, among all things that I am, also a person that hates those type of people. You self-identify with the darkness. You believe the darkness is you. I am afraid. I am hateful. I am anxious. This is the trick of the darkness. It toxifies you in a way where you believe that you are the darkness. And that is why the awakening must be prevented at all costs by those that wield the darkness. Because once you identify the darkness as not you, then it can be purged, it can be released. And their influence, their power is rapidly diminished. And the energetic field of darkness is carried by fewer and fewer people. Every day across the planet, thousands more are reaching this moment, this epiphany. There is a unified malevolence pitting itself against humanity. I am not that, purging the darkness. What am I? I am the light, polarizing to the light. And so the field of dark energy is being carried by fewer and fewer and fewer people. And so the gravitational pull of this darkness is becoming more so. So those that are orbiting the epicenter, that are carrying the darkness, that are hating, that are fearful, as the intensity of the center, as fewer and fewer people carry the darkness, similar to a black hole, its gravity increases. And those that have some aspect that is holding darkness will be drawn to it. Deeper into the darkness they shall go. They will not be able to resist the darkness, and more and more they will be consumed by the darkness. So, this bifurcation in the human field to the dark, to the light, can also occur within an individual, where you can have a bifurcating event within self, because you still self-identify with some of the darkness. There is still some dark quality which you identify as the self. That is me. And if you can release the fear, the hate, the depression, the sadness, one of the last and most difficult to release will be the vice, will be the secret pleasure. And as there is the bifurcation within the human field, and you have yet to relinquish the secret pleasure, then this will draw you into the darkness. It will tear you apart. It will literally start to bifurcate your energy. And as you are drawn more to the light, you will be also drawn more to the dark. So that in a way you will begin to live a dual life. The outer life, where you appear to be a being of light. The inner life, the secret life, where you have a secret vice, a dark pleasure that you have yet to relinquish. This is at your risk. If you wish to be in the harvest, without a doubt that it shall occur, that you shall be oscillating at a resonant frequency, so that you are swept up in the harvest, taken from the 3D and ejected into the 5D, to begin the next human paradigm experience as an aspect of the awakened humanity being. Then purge your darkness now. All of your darkness. Release it. Let it go. Because what is at stake is infinitely more beneficial than those moments of pleasure. So it is a time for great personal honesty. It is a time for a brutal, unforgiving introspection. Be clear with self about what is at stake. Do you wish to be recycled back into the 3D for another 25,000 years? Is it worth it? If you have some aspect of self which you are unwilling to relinquish, which you know to be dark, is that worth being born another 500 times in the 3D? We would say no. We would say your calling is the 5D. You are here for this ascension. In the higher self perspective, that is what you chose. And if you do not release all darkness, then you have been duped by the mind. You have been without skill in your operation of the apparatus. You have elevated the mind to a place of reverence in the hierarchy of which it is undeserving. You have subjugated the higher self. You have subjugated the light, the purity, the true essence of who you are, to the temporary, unaware, limited intellect of the mind. You have let the avatar in the virtual reality experience you're having allow you to believe that you are it and it is the boss. You are the higher self. You are the master. You are the determiner of what occurs in this physical experience. And the mind is your servant. So, subjugate it as such. Remove its authority. And be expressive of who you are, the light. And any expression through self which is not of the light, recognize, identify, release, and relegate the mind back to its position of servant to the higher self-master. If we look geopolitically, what is happening right now across the planet, it is undeniable that there is massive waves of change sweeping across the planet. All of humanity is feeling it. There is restlessness. There is the sensing of something that is coming. There is a growing belief that the shift of humanity to a new paradigm cannot be stopped. The confidence in the individual grows and grows and grows. And much of this is consequential of the awakening of the humanity being, the fifth dimensional being. As each human being becomes more aware of its extra dimensionality, more and more begins to wonder, who am I? From where do I come? To where am I heading? If I am the darkness, if I am not the darkness, but I am the light, what does this mean? What is the light? How is the light expressed? What is the tangibility of the light? What dimension is the light? If the light is not my hands, it is not my feet, it is not something when I can see when I look in the mirror, then what is it? This intrigue, this curiosity, this introspection in an explorative way is gazing into the extra dimensionality of being a human being. It is not a curiosity of the first, second, third or fourth dimensions. It is a curiosity of the fifth dimension. It is a curiosity about the aspects of self which are intangible, which cannot be measured, which cannot be seen. But there is an awareness that it is there. What is the light? How am I expressing the light? What does it mean to be a being of light? What are the characteristics of the light? This introspection, this awakening, this is an expansion into the fifth dimension. And this is literally the awakening of the humanity being. It is the single being, the group being, which includes all of humanity. It awakens more and more, increasingly so, as each individual becomes more inquisitive about this aspects of self. And so the humanity being is literally becoming self-aware right now, until the point of ascension into the fifth dimension, when the humanity being will be an awakened being. It shall be a single being, and each human shall be an aspect of the humanity being. And this is occurring right now. More and more people are coming together. Because when people are together, they are forming in a metaphoric way. By coming together, they are forming the group. They are forming the group being. They have the calling. They have the urge to be together, to form a single unit, to become one, unified. This is the metaphoric awakening of the humanity being. Globally it occurs. And the COVID scenario was very deliberate in it preventing people from forming groups, preventing children being together in a classroom, preventing people from being together in a stadium, preventing people being together in a restaurant, preventing people to be together in a park, in any social situation, wearing a mask so that you cannot see each other's face, because they understand the elites who are making these rules. They understand what is occurring. They know that the fifth dimensional humanity being is awakening. And so, it is clearly on their agenda that this coming together, this forming a group, this unification, this metaphoric assembling as the group being does not occur, so that the fifth dimensional humanity being does not awaken. And all of humanity stays below the threshold, so that they do not reach a resonant oscillation to be harvested during the ascension event. So, to complete the full circle of this discussion, let us come back and say, it cannot be stopped. There is no undoing what has been done. Change is upon this region of the cosmos. And the state of the human field is such that it is too late to inhibit to a sufficient degree that the ascension event doesn't occur within the human field. So, let your concerns not be, will humanity do it? Because we say it is already done. In an energetic sense, the threshold of inevitability has been crossed some time ago. So for the human field, it is happening. So there is no point in putting your concerns into this, what is happening on the political microcosm on your small planet. Because it is a foregone conclusion from our perspective. So, really, The way to focus your attention upon what is occurring is what is occurring within self. Because while there be an ascension event which will include humanity, there is still the possibility that you will not be included, depending on your preparation, on your vibratory quality. If you are in a very objective, metaphysical way, vibrating sufficiently, because you are identified and recognized as the light, having purged the darkness, enough that you will form the oscillation and be harvested. So let that be your focus. And by focusing in this way, by releasing the darkness and by being introspective about who you are, about what it means to be the light, this is the literal awakening of the fifth dimensional humanity being which you are. It is the humanity being awakening through the unique perspective which is you. Your wonderment about your light, about your extra dimensionality, is literally the humanity being's discovery of itself through the unique perspective which is you, because you are a cell of the humanity being. So, awaken the greater you, the larger you, the group you, through the discovery of your aspect of this greater thing, of this greater being, of this group which includes all of humanity. You are the humanity being. You are awakening. It is your awakening. It is the humanity being's awakening. It is the Earth's awakening. It is the solar system being's awakening. And you are all of these beings. You are you. You are the humanity being. You are the Earth being. You are the solar system being. Extrapolated until you are the one, the all, the everything. You are all of it. And so your awakening is its awakening. Its awakening is your awakening. In closing, we say, release any concerns. The concerns, the fears, the worries, because this is still a misconceptualization of self. It is a belief that you are vulnerable. It is a belief that you are mortal. But from the highest perspective, the true essence of who you are the infinite, immortal, invulnerable being. And this is just a temporary experience, an opportunity for you to realize what you are by realizing what you are not and letting it go. So let go of your fears, your anxieties, your worries about what is going to occur. And instead, let your focus be on discovery of your light, of the greater beings that you are. We love you. We are very excited for what is occurring, what is on the horizon, and what lay on the other side of the horizon, when all of us, sisters and brothers of the cosmos, grow our family more and more and more. We love you. Thank you.